key term.
Right, how that thought stops being just an idea and actually starts becoming, well, physical reality.
Yeah.
Wealth, even.
And our mission for this deep dive is to show you how that transformation, that transmutation actually happens.
Yeah, we're not just summarizing. We've got 3 pretty incredible case studies lined up.
There's the story of the man, penniless, who partnered with Thomas Edison.
Amazing story. Then there's the painful lesson of 3 feet from gold.
Ooh, yeah. That one stings.
It does. And finally, a really personal challenge, where desire literally had to, well, outwit Mother Nature herself.
So let's start with that anchor story. The one that maybe best proves your mental state is your biggest asset.
Edwin C. Barnes. This guy had, zero money, zero connections, no relevant experience.
Nothing on paper.
Right. And yet, he literally thought his way into this huge, decades-long business partnership with Thomas A. Edison.
It's just an astonishing story when you dig into it. We're talking over 30 years ago. Barnes had this one single, all-consuming desire.
To be a business associate of the great inventor, Edison.
And here's that crucial distinction you mentioned. He didn't just want a job for Edison.
No, he was aiming higher. He wanted to work with him, a partner.
He fixed his mind completely on that partnership goal, not just, getting a paycheck.
But the starting point, talk about obstacles. He didn't have the money for a train ticket.
From the West all the way to Orange, New Jersey. Most people would just stop there, right? Impossible.
Absolutely. But Barnes, he didn't see the lack of money as the real roadblock. He was just focused on getting there.
And that focus pushed him to travel by what the source calls blind baggage.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, that means hiding out on a freight train, sneaking aboard.
Super risky. And he arrives at Edison's laboratory looking apparently like an ordinary tramp.
Dirt under his fingernails, clothes ragged. But this is where Edison's insight comes in, and why the thought was the real currency here.
Right.
Edison didn't just see the appearance. He saw past the clothes, past the grime. He recognized this, like blazing determination in Barnes's eyes.
Edison himself said it later, didn't he? Something about...
Yeah, he said, while Barnes's appearance was certainly against him, it was what he thought that counted. Edison got it. He understood that deep desire gives off a kind of energy.
But okay, he gets there, Edison sees something. But the partnership doesn't just materialize instantly.
No, not at all. He gets the lowest job possible. Menial stuff, unimportant work for hardly any pay.
Now, if he just wanted any old job, he probably would have quit right then.
Exactly. He would have been disgusted. But for Barnes, that terrible job was actually everything.
Because it put him in the right place.
Precisely. In Edison's orbit. It gave him the stage, you could say, to display his real merchandise, that unwavering commitment, that desire, right where his target partner could see it day in, day out.
So persistence becomes the daily proof.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it gets tough, right? Because months go by, maybe even years.
Years, yeah. With no visible sign, he's getting closer to that big goal, that definite major purpose.
But the desire, it didn't fade.
No, according to the source, it actually intensified. The waiting made it stronger. He was just determined to stay ready, primed for when the opportunity finally showed up.
And it did show up, but, like you often hear...
Disguised. Completely disguised. As misfortune, actually.
How so?
Edison had perfected this new device, the Ediphone dictating machine. Think early dictaphone.
Okay.
But his regular sales team, they hated it, thought it was clunky, hard to sell, basically a dud.
They couldn't see the potential.
Right. And the moment they showed that lack of enthusiasm, that negativity...
Barnes saw his opening.
Instantly. He saw the opportunity hidden inside that misfortune, that poor reception. He steps up, says, I think I can sell this thing.
And he did.
Oh, did he ever? He was so incredibly successful that Edison didn't hesitate. He gave him the national distribution contract right away.
Wow. Just like that.
And that partnership, that business alliance, it lasted for over 30 years. Made Barnes a very wealthy man.
And led to that famous slogan, made by Edison and installed by Barnes.
That's the one. So the core insight here, the thing you really need to grasp, is that Barnes started with nothing tangible, just an impulse. A thought.
An intangible impulse of thought.
Exactly. But because it was definite and because he backed it with relentless persistence, it was literally transmuted into its physical counterpart. Millions of dollars.
He didn't wait for luck. He created the reality.
He absolutely did.
Okay, so Barnes shows the incredible power of sticking with it. That persistent desire. But the next story is kind of the flip side, isn't it? It shows the massive cost of quitting too soon.
Yeah, this is maybe the most common reason for failure, period. Giving up because of what feels like defeat, but is really just temporary.
And this story involves someone named R.U. Darby's uncle.
That's right. During the gold rush fever, he and his uncle got caught up in it, staked a claim.
And they actually found gold.
Oh, yeah. They hit the shining ore, got it assayed, and reports came back potentially one of the richest mines in Colorado. They shipped the first load of ore. Hopes were sky high.
You can imagine. They think they've struck it rich.
Totally. But then disaster, the vein of ore just disappeared. Gold veins can do that, you know? Fault lines, shifts in the earth. It vanished. They drilled like crazy trying to find it again. Nothing.
So despair sets in.
Big time. They finally just decided it's gone. The effort isn't worth it anymore. They quit.
Just quit.
Packed it in, sold all their drilling machinery to a local junk man for basically pennies on the dollar.
Oh, no. I have a bad feeling about this junk man.
You should. This decision cost them millions. Because the junk man, he wasn't just hauling scrap. He was smart.
What did he do?
He hired a mining engineer to check the place out before he ripped everything out.
Due diligence.
Exactly. The engineer looked at the geology, did some calculations, and realized the vein hadn't ended. It had just hit a fault line. It shifted.
Oh, it was still there?
It was still there. And the engineer calculated it was waiting just 3 feet from where the Darbys had stopped drilling.
3 feet? Are you kidding me?
3 feet. The junk man quietly brought drilling back in, followed the engineer's advice, and took millions upon millions of dollars out of that mine.
While Darby and his uncle
Walked away with nothing but debt and, well, a very painful lesson. Darby himself had helped raise the money, sunk everything into it.
Wow, that's brutal. But did Darby learn from it?
He absolutely did. It became a priceless asset, ironically. He spent years paying back the money he'd lost for his family, but later he became this incredibly successful life insurance salesman, top of his field.
How did the gold mine failure help with that?
Because whenever he faced rejection, whenever a potential client said no, he didn't see it as final defeat. He just remembered stopping 3 feet from gold. He developed this incredible stickability, as the source calls it. He told himself he'd stopped once because someone else gave up, but he'd never again stop just because someone said no to buying insurance.
That's a powerful reframe. That failure fueled his persistence.
Exactly. It's a lesson for anyone, isn't it? Whether you're, an entrepreneur trying to get a product right or a creative person facing rejection.
How do you know if you're 3 feet from gold?
You don't. That's the point. The only way to find out is to keep drilling, to stop measuring success only by the immediate result and measure it by your willingness to keep going.
Okay, so persistence is crucial. But where does that sheer, unwavering determination come from?
Well, there's one more story Darby witnessed that really hammers this home. It's called the 50-cent lesson, and it's quite something.
Tell us about it.
It happened on this big farm managed by that same uncle of Darby's, the one from the gold mine story. Apparently, he had a pretty fierce temper.
Okay.
And one day, this tiny little girl, the daughter of one of the sharecroppers working on the farm, she comes into the mill where the uncle is working.
Timidly, I imagine.
Yeah, she meekly asks him, "My mammy say send her 50 cents.
And the uncle
explodes, just barks at her, "I'll not do it, now you run on home."
Oh, dear. Most kids would run crying.
Right. Most adults probably would too. But this little girl, she just stood there, didn't budge.
Really?
Didn't move an inch. So the uncle sees she hasn't left, gets even angrier, starts yelling louder. And then he picks up a barrel stave, like a piece of wood, a clear threat.
Whoa. That's intense.
It is. But the child, she wasn't intimidated by the yelling. She wasn't scared by the stave. As the uncle walks towards her, she actually steps forward, looks him right in the eye, and just screams at the top of her lungs.
What did she scream?
"My mammy's got to have that 50 cents.
Wow. Just defiance.
Pure, focused defiance. And it stopped the uncle dead in his tracks. He just stared at her for a second, put the stave down, reached into his pocket, and gave her the 50 cents.
She won.
She totally conquered him. Not with physical strength, obviously, but with the sheer, focused, unwavering intensity of her desire. Her goal was non-negotiable.
That is a powerful image. A tiny child facing down an angry adult with just determination.
It shows that raw power, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And it highlights why just kind of wishing for things like riches is pretty useless.
Exactly. The sources are clear on this. You have to desire it like an obsession. And it has to be backed up by definite plans and that persistence we keep talking about.
Okay, so if wishing isn't enough, what's the practical how-to? You mentioned steps.
Yes. There are 6 definite practical steps laid out, apparently derived from the methods of Andrew Carnegie and even approved by Thomas Edison.
Okay, this sounds like the core formula.
It is. And it's not just like a checklist. It's
Right.
presented as more of a ritual, something to really reprogram your thinking.
All right, let's break them down. Step 1.
First, you have to fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire.
Not just, I want to be rich.
No, be specific. A definite number. $1 million, $10,000, whatever it is. Make it concrete.
Okay, exact amount. Step 2.
Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for that money.
The price.
Yeah.
There's always a price.
Always. Nothing for nothing. What service, what product, what effort are you going to provide? Be specific about your end of the bargain.
Makes sense. Step 3.
Establish a definite date by which you intend to possess this money.
A deadline. Puts pressure on, prevents procrastination.
Exactly. Gives your subconscious a target date to work toward.
Okay, amount, return date. Step 4.
Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire. Map out the actions, and here's the kicker. Begin at once, whether you feel ready or not, to put that plan into action.
Begin at once, ready or not. That's bold. No waiting for conditions to be perfect.
Nope. Action starts now. Momentum is key.
Okay. Step 5.
Write it all down. Create a clear, concise written statement covering those first 4 points. The amount, the return, the date, and the plan.
Make it tangible. Put it on paper.
Formalize it for yourself.
And the final step. Step 6.
This is the crucial one for programming the subconscious mind. Read that written statement aloud, twice daily.
Twice a day. When?
Once just before you go to sleep at night, and once first thing after you wake up in the morning.
Okay, read it aloud twice daily. But there's more to it, isn't there?
Yes. Crucially, as you read it, you must see, feel, and believe yourself already in possession of the money.
Visualization and emotion, not just reading words.
Exactly. It's immersion. You have to generate the feeling of having already achieved it. Create that mental reality first so strongly that the external world starts to align with it.
That's powerful stuff. It's about living from the end result mentally.
That's the core idea.
Now, our final case study takes this concept of desire and persistence to, well, maybe its ultimate test. It's not about money this time, but about overcoming a profound physical limitation.
Yeah, this is the author's own story about his son, Blair. And it's incredibly moving, but also powerfully instructive.
What was the situation?
Blair was born, tragically, with no physical sign of ears, just smooth skin where ears should be.
Oh my goodness.
And the doctor's diagnosis was just devastating. He told the parents the child would almost certainly be deaf and, as a result, likely mute for his entire life.
I can't even imagine hearing that as a parent.
Crushing. But the father, the author of our source material, he simply refused to accept it. Right then and there, he developed this silent, internal, but absolutely burning desire.
That his son would hear and speak.
Yes, against all medical odds. He just decided it would happen.
So what did they do? They couldn't just wish it into existence.
No, they started looking for any connection, any way sound might be reaching the boy. And they noticed something interesting.
What was that?
The child really loved music, but he'd enjoy it by clamping his teeth onto the cabinet of the Victrola, the record player.
His teeth? That's unusual.
It is, but what was happening, fascinatingly, is that the child was instinctively using bone conduction.
Bone conduction?
Yeah, the vibrations from the music were traveling through his jawbone and skull directly to his inner ear mechanism, bypassing the missing outer ear structures entirely.
Wow. So sound was getting through just in an unconventional way.
Exactly. They also found he could hear his father's voice, faintly, if his father spoke with his lips touching the mastoid bone, that hard bump right behind where the ear would be.
So they found these little glimmers of hope.
Tiny openings. But the real genius, the master stroke in their strategy, wasn't just finding these physical workarounds, it was psychological.
How so?
They didn't just try to teach the boy to hear using these methods. They actively worked to instill in him the desire to hear.
Made him want it.
Fiercely. And even more brilliantly, they framed his condition not as a terrible handicap, but as an asset.
An asset? How could being born without ears be an asset?
They sold him on the idea that this difference made him special, that it would force him to develop unique resourcefulness, maybe get extra attention, give him an edge in certain ways.
Turning a perceived negative into a positive driver.
Exactly. And you saw the results pretty quickly. When he was just 7 years old, he wanted to earn his own money. He went out, borrowed 6 cents from a neighbor,
6 cents.
Bought newspapers with it, sold them, and came back with a 42-cent profit, all on his own initiative.
Incredible self-reliance at that age, driven by that mindset.
Yes, he was already proving that his affliction wasn't going to hold him back. It was going to make him more determined, more inventive.
So what happened with his hearing in the long run? Did that burning desire pay off?
It took years. Years of persistence, of using bone conduction, of lip reading, of constant effort. But then the breakthrough came. Right at the end of college,
What happened?
he got the chance to try out a new type of electrical hearing aid that had just been developed. He put it on, and suddenly
I could hear.
he heard normally for the very first time in his life. Imagine that moment. A completely changed world, as the source puts it. The father's burning desire, held for decades, backed by faith and persistence. It had finally manifested.
That's just unbelievable. What an emotional payoff.
But the story doesn't even stop there. Because Blair, overjoyed, had this immediate flash of inspiration, an impulse of thought.
What was it?
He decided right then he wanted to dedicate his life to helping the millions of other deafened people who could benefit from this technology. He wrote to the manufacturer of the hearing aid.
And they hired him?
They invited him to New York, saw his passion and his unique perspective, and yes, they hired him. He literally turned his physical challenge, his supposed handicap, into his greatest professional asset, doing meaningful work helping others.
Wow. From predicted deafness and mutism to helping millions hear.
It's an incredible testament. The point being, if a burning desire, backed by unwavering faith and persistence, can compel even Mother Nature to find a way around a profound physical limitation.
Then what chance does a temporary business setback or a rejection slip or someone saying no really have against that kind of force?
Exactly. The real limits, the sources argue, are never truly external. They are the ones we impose within our own minds.
So wrapping this all up, the fundamental insight from all these incredible stories, all these sources, it really boils down to this, doesn't it?
Yeah. Success, especially significant financial success, but really success in any major endeavor, it starts and ends with your state of mind.
It has to be fixed on a definite purpose.
Absolutely. And sustained by this absolute refusal to quit when things get tough, when you hit those temporary defeats.
It's about fundamentally changing how you see yourself and your potential.
Yeah.
Because so many people, they measure everything based on where they are right now.
Their current perceived limitations, yeah. And by doing that, they effectively block themselves from even thinking in terms of the riches or the success they claim they want. It's like they can't allow the thought in.
You mentioned a poem earlier.
Ah, yes, the one quoted in the text. It's quite provocative. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. Any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid.
Powerful lines. The idea that life or the universe or whatever you want to call it is essentially a just employer.
Ready to pay whatever wage you truly, deeply demand through your desire and your actions.
So if that's true, then our final challenge to you, the listener, is maybe to skip the vague wishing and get straight to the demanding part.
Apply those steps we talked about. Start today.
Step 1. What is the exact amount you are asking for? Get that number crystal clear in your mind.
And maybe even more importantly right now, step 4. What definite plan, even if it's just the very first step, are you starting right now, ready or not, to pay the price for it?
What action are you taking today?
A claim from our source material that says building serious wealth doesn't start with money.
Right. Not with capital or loans or even inheritance. It starts with thought, a very specific kind of thought.
It really flips the script, doesn't it? We usually think, okay, money makes money.
Exactly. But this perspective treats wealth like alchemy almost. It's about transmuting your desire, something intangible, into its physical or monetary equivalent.
And they give this massive example, Charles M. Schwab and the U.S. Steel Corporation.
Yeah, incredible. Just the power of his idea, his conviction, resulted in a deal valued at, what was it, $600 million in profit back then.
$600 million, just from an idea, really pushed through with belief. That's not just getting lucky.
No, it's presented as the direct outcome of a mental process. And that's our mission today, to unpack the foundational steps of this mental chemistry.
We're looking at faith, autosuggestion, specialized knowledge, and imagination, how these work together.
The ingredients you need to turn a simple wish into, an actual working plan.
Okay, let's start with faith. Step 2 in the process. The material calls it the head chemist of the mind. What's that really mean?
It means faith acts like a catalyst. It's the mental state, the feeling that when you mix it with your thoughts about your desire,
It bypasses the usual critical thinking.
Pretty much. It allows the thought, the desire, to be picked up instantly by the subconscious mind. It's the active ingredient that starts translating desire into, well, reality.
And there's this idea of an emotional blend to make the thought powerful enough. They mention faith, love, and interestingly, sex as the most potent positive emotions.
Yes, the idea is that blending these three, like primary colors, gives the thought vibration real energy. It makes it register immediately with the subconscious, or what they sometimes call infinite intelligence.
So it's not just passive belief, it's active, energized belief.
Exactly. And the really crucial part, faith isn't something you either have or you don't. It's a state of mind you can actually induce. You can create it.
How? How do you build it deliberately?
Through repetition. The only known way to do it voluntarily is by repeatedly feeding affirmations or orders directly to your subconscious mind. That's the core of autosuggestion, which we'll get to.
There was that analogy about exposure to crime.
Right, the criminologist's point. If you're constantly exposed to something, even something negative,
Yeah.
you first get used to it, then you tolerate it, then you might even embrace it.
So the mind just adapts.
It adapts and accepts what's repeatedly impressed upon it. And it works the same way for any thought, positive or negative. If you keep feeding the subconscious a thought, it eventually accepts it as reality and starts working to manifest it physically.
Which leads to that warning, the double-edged sword.
Absolutely. The subconscious doesn't filter based on whether a thought is good for you or bad for you. It just takes the instructions.
So if you constantly think, I'll always be poor, or I'm doomed to fail.
Your subconscious takes that as an order. It translates that belief into your physical circumstances. Millions, the text argues, create their own misfortune this way, through negative beliefs they hold persistently.
It's a heavy thought. But the potential power.
Look at Gandhi.
An astounding example. He had no army, no money in the conventional sense, yet he influenced, 200 million people.
Move them to act in unison, based purely on the power of his conviction, his faith.
He transplanted his goal, his faith, into their minds. That demonstrates the sheer practical force we're talking about, far beyond just making money.
So, if faith is the fuel, how do we get it into the engine consistently?
That brings us perfectly to the next step, autosuggestion, the control mechanism.
Autosuggestion, self-suggestion. This is the bridge between the conscious and subconscious mind.
Exactly. It's the communication channel. Your conscious mind is meant to be the guard at the gate controlling what thoughts get in.
But most of us leave the gate wide open. That's the problem. We let random thoughts, negative news, fears, just wander in. Autosuggestion is about consciously, deliberately choosing what you feed your subconscious. You actively plant the seeds of what you want.
Okay, but here's the practical question. If I stand there saying, I have $1 million when my account is empty, isn't that just lying to myself? It feels delusional. The source material is clear. Just repeating words does nothing.
And that is the absolute key. It's not the words alone. It's the feeling you attach to them. You have to mix deep emotion, especially faith, with those words.
Emotionalize it.
Yes. Plain, unemotional words just bounce off the subconscious. You need to feel the reality of already having what you desire as you say it. You're trying to convince that deeper mind that it's already true.
That sounds like hard work, mentally demanding.
It is. The text is very clear about the price. It takes unwavering persistence. You can't just try it for a week.
And
concentration. You have to focus on that desire until it stops being just a wish or a preference and becomes a burning obsession.
an obsession? That sounds intense.
It has to be, to generate the kind of mental energy needed to influence the subconscious consistently. It has to be the dominant thought in your mind.
So let's make it actionable. The 6 steps from the first phase applied here. How does it work day to day?
Right, the practical ritual. Find a quiet spot, somewhere you won't be disturbed. Bedtime and waking up are often suggested because the mind is more receptive. Close your eyes. And then repeat aloud your written statement, the one with the exact amount of money, the time limit, and what you'll give in return.
Aloud? Why aloud?
Hearing it reinforces it, engages another sense. But the crucial part comes next.
The feeling part.
Yes. As you say the words, you must simultaneously see and feel yourself already in possession of that money or whatever your goal is. Really experience it in your imagination.
So you're creating the emotional signature of the accomplished goal.
Precisely. You keep doing this morning and night every day until you've memorized the statement and, more importantly, until that feeling of possession feels natural, automatic. The aim is to basically trick your subconscious into believing it's already done, that the money is just waiting for you to claim it.
Right. So desire is fixed, faith is being cultivated, the mind is being programmed. Now what? We need a plan, right? That leads to knowledge.
Step 4, specialized knowledge. And here's a critical distinction the material makes. General knowledge, the kind you get from just going through school, isn't that useful for making money.
They point out college professors, often brilliant, but not typically wealthy.
Exactly. Knowledge itself is just potential power. It only becomes actual power when it's organized into definite plans of action, aimed at a specific goal.
It's not what you know, but how you organize and use what you know, or what others know.
Precisely. The Henry Ford story illustrates this perfectly. Remember in court when they tried to call him ignorant?
Yeah, he didn't bite. He didn't try to answer trivia.
No. He just said he had a row of push buttons on his desk. If he needed an answer to any question, he could push a button and summon someone who had that specific specialized knowledge.
So, being educated doesn't mean having all the facts in your head.
It means knowing where to get the knowledge when you need it and how to organize it into a plan. This is fundamental to building